I think this industry and really healthcare staffing specifically has been what has shown me that the more you can share amongst your peers and lean on your peers for wisdom and advice and, people who have been there before, I think that's been the biggest learning piece for me.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of On the Clock and Off the Record. Each episode is brought to you by Atlas MedStaff, unapologetically human. Welcome back to another episode of On the Clock and Off the Record. This one's going to be fun because today I am catching up with my longtime friend, Mark Hummel, founder of Toro Insights. We have worked together for a number of years, going way back into the history of Atlas. We've shared plenty of you can't make this stuff up stories over late night beers at shows and conventions and you name it. In this episode, we're going to talk to him about what the numbers are really saying and where agencies falter, trip over their own data, and make mistakes with the very data that they have in their database, and then how you can learn from that and fix it. So, Mark Hummel, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, Rich. And yes, always a fan of the Atlas brand, and you guys are like the top tier for social media. I'm always trying to get tips on how to give ourselves more exposure based off of your expertise in there. So I appreciate you having me on. Long time partnership.
Very kind words. Thank you so much. So give me a little background give us a little bit of background that maybe I didn't cover. How long you've been in the industry, what you've done before, that type of thing.
Yeah. So, my background started actually at the ground level, doing this stuff as a recruiter and salesperson in staffing, and, joined a company called Fire, not the festival, different Fire, in 2015, I guess it was. And they just had, when I was talking to Tim Arnold, who was the CEO of Fire, just had this really cool concept of this VMS process, VMS sync that takes the recs out of the VMS, puts them into your ATS, and knowing how painful that was as my, part of my actual career, I jumped right on that opportunity, and I had no idea where that was going to take me. The first year and a half was crazy, not in the best of ways. And then honestly, we met you guys and, a lot of the different healthcare staffing firms at TravCon back in 2016 and changed everything for us. So I think we really not only hit it off because I love the staffing industry and how much we are able to share and collaborate on stuff, but I think we solved a real need for healthcare staffing, and that led us to an eventual acquisition from Bullhorn in 2017, and I had stayed on really until the last couple of years. I was at Bullhorn, getting to talk to the largest staffing firms in the industry, so really getting to peel back the onion of what are the challenges that you see at everywhere from the executive level to the recruiting level.
And to be fair, there was not a product like that before. It was a very manual process. We were uploading jobs ourselves or whatever, and Fire really changed everything. And now it's called VMS Sync, and now you're at a place called Toro.
Toro, yes. Yeah, and Toro is great because basically from that learning that I was doing while at Bullhorn, talking to all these staffing executives, one thing was very clear, which was there's so much data that we all have access to, and we knew that AI was going to do something with that data finally. And the question was just what? And I think there was just an anxiousness in 2023, at the end of 2023, of there is going to be this, cataclysmic moment where we want to be on the right side of history and be leveraging this as much as possible while still being human. As you guys are unapologetically human, one of my favorite taglines.
Awesome. All right. You ready to get on the clock?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Question number 1. Toro is all about turning staffing data into action. What's the biggest change that you've seen in how agencies use their data over the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think it goes back to agencies for the last, probably as long as there's been an ATS really, have always said, we have this ATS so that we can capture all the data in it. If it doesn't happen in Bullhorn, if it doesn't happen in Labor Edge, it doesn't happen in your ATS, it doesn't exist. And, there's KPIs built around that. People get paid on that. But for the last, until 3 years ago, what was being done with that data was pretty minimal, I'd say. We were maybe doing some automations, running some KPI reports, but we weren't seeing the type of transformative, you have this knowledge base of, proprietary information, and figuring out a way to leverage it is something that has really been a shift in focus, I'd say, over the last 3 years. Certainly lots of people now moving this data into data lakes, and they have a data strategy, a data cleanliness strategy. But still the question is, what can you do with this data? And I think one of the biggest things is we've all learned how unstructured data doesn't make for great insights on its own. You have to figure out a way to translate that data into something usable for your business so that you can then basically ask your data questions about decisions you want to make.
I've said this before, and I think I said it to Joel Wiersma the other day, if there was a phrase that wasn't in my vocabulary last year that is absolutely a part of what I do every day now, it's unstructured data.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you know it better than anybody, right? From a marketing perspective, it's all about segmenting what message goes to what person, all about, what do we know about these cohorts? You do that because different things resonate with different people, and you're trying to give not just the message that means the most to them, but really meet your customers where they want you to meet them at. And you can't do that if the data you know about where they are is buried somewhere in a unstructured note that only the recruiter who wrote it knows.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly right. And before it was just a black hole, and you maybe wouldn't uncover it. You wouldn't see it for years, and then by that time it's way too late. So.
Oh, exactly.
All right. So question number 2: a lot of firms chase leads. We do. I mean, a lot of firms just chase those leads, but more data in the database doesn't necessarily mean better decisions, like we were talking about. How do you help clients focus on quality over quantity?
I was thinking about this a little bit. It reminds me of when I was younger, the encyclopedia salesman used to come to your house, and they would say, hey, buy this set of encyclopedias for whatever crazy amount of money it was, $800 or whatever. And I really wanted that. God knows why. I didn't read a lot. But my parents, were quick to say that just doesn't seem like a good investment in money. And I think the biggest thing is those encyclopedias kind of represent the old way of thinking in my mind, which is you can have this treasure trove of information sitting on a shelf. And if you can't index it and understand where to go find the pieces, sure, that's in alphabetical order. Our ATSs are in alphabetical order. But the actual context and the content of what you want to know, that's why you started to see, search engines be such a big thing, is we wanted to ask Google the direct question we had, not the roundabout alphabetical topic that we wanted to know about. And so that's where, when I look at how ATSs are structured, how people think about the leads in their database today, there's so much emphasis on how many candidates you have in the database. The number of times that we've sat across the table in my, 10 years of talking to executives now in this industry, and they've said, well, we have, 400,000 candidates in our ATS. We have 2.2 million candidates in our ATS. The question always is, how many of those could you actually engage with? Not just do you have their phone number and email. That is certainly table stakes, but how many of those do you know proprietary information about that you paid your recruiters to go build that relationship, and you know where that information is so you can actually utilize it to pitch them what they want to talk about?
Yeah. At the time that they want to talk about it, right?
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, and that number, just that number is this big, right? You have 1 million leads in your database, and you're touching this many of them. You have this much insight into before, right? Not anymore.
No. What I'd say the interesting thing is the industry certainly respects that now and is doing more automations, more outreach campaigns, trying to re-engage candidates. But it all circles back to, from a marketing perspective, you have to know what you know about the cohort that you're trying to get their attention. And if that doesn't work its way into your automations, then you might as well be shouting into a black hole and seeing if, miraculously somebody says something back to you.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Question number 3. And I'm always curious about this. And this is why, I enjoy going to SIA Executive Forum and places like that, where it's not just the healthcare echo chamber that we all know and love. You work with a lot of different verticals outside of healthcare. What insights do you see carrying over, and which ones don't at all?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the ones that certainly carry over is we've all, again, been working off of similar KPIs for as long as I've been in this industry. So no matter what industry you're in, it's, how many actions did your people take? Then how many of those actions turned into a submission? How many of those submissions turned into a placement? That entire chain and looking at the ratios in between that chain is shared by every industry in staffing. The interesting thing that healthcare has is that, and I know I've talked about this with you guys. One of my favorite things that healthcare has that differentiates it is it's an inverted supply and demand curve. Even today, in this world of, the jobs are down from what they were in COVID's peak, they're still near 2019 levels. You just see healthcare staffing focuses on the candidate first, and then of the candidate that I'm talking to or the candidates that I know, what jobs do I have for them? Whereas the other industries, understandably so, kind of have to focus on the job first, and then can I go out and source? So the biggest, thing that shows me is that if anybody, I mean, I think everybody needs to understand what's in their database, but healthcare staffing specifically, the bread and butter is, and that's why, you pay the money that everyone does for the leads, is what candidates do I have? How many of them can I keep fresh and have a relationship with? And that number really makes a difference when they're actionable. And I think in the professional world, they certainly care about how many of their candidates they have in the database, but they have a lot more, outbound sourcing that they're doing for every engagement. And I think where the recruiter can get back time in their day on that side is a little bit different from, where the recruiter can get back time on, Atlas and healthcare staffing, which is, what allows you guys to be so unapologetically human is because, even before the structured data, your recruiters structure data about their candidates and, have that in their mind of like, I know this candidate needs this job and I'm going to remember that. So obviously, now we're just taking that and we need to scale it. And I think as an industry, that's where we are now.
Awesome. All right, last question in on the clock. What's the one big misunderstanding about staffing analytics or AI that us old dogs in the industry just still make those mistakes with, right? What is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in general we are coming around a lot more as an industry, but the big mistake, especially in 23 and early in 24, was that AI, yet again, as every technology seems to be when it first comes out, is the silver bullet. We've got it. This is, this should be able to do everything. And the truth is, as the models get better, the models getting better does help us incrementally, helps everybody incrementally. But what you need in on top of those models getting smarter is you need the context. So those models need to be either fed the right data at the right time. They need to be trained on data that is relevant to the industry. They need to be understanding of what the outcome is when it suggests something. So the way a human learns, right?
Right.
You have to touch a hot stove once or twice in your life to know that you don't want to do that again. I mean, I said twice. Maybe everybody else is once, but
I was probably twice. Yeah. No, I get it. And, honestly, I was scared 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. Like I was thought this is one, you automatically go to the worst common denominator, the worst possible scenario, right? This takes over everything or whatever. And what I've really learned is it's only as smart as what you feed it and the questions that you ask it and the prompts that you give. And so you can really make it what you want, but it takes time. There's nothing magical about it.
Oh no. Yeah. I mean, it's as one of our developers always likes to tell us in stand up, and we call him our, reformed AI skeptic, is, that all the LLM is doing is predicting what the next word out of your mouth is going to be. That's how this works. So the better it can predict, or the more data and context you give it, the better it can predict. The challenge with that is, as a recruiter, and you see so much noise on the forums right now about recruiters finding these great hacks on how to use the LLMs outside of the, company scope. The problem is there's no way to just give what's in their brain or even what they're looking at on their ATS and just give it all to an LLM in the right context for it to do something with. And so that's where I think the biggest, misunderstanding when I say silver bullet is I don't think that anybody expected this technology to be the thing that changed everything, but the way that people are finding you have to use it and why partners are so important in how you use it, I think has been something that's been learned in really just the last 6 or 12 months.
Yeah, we're so early. Like that's one thing I have to keep reminding myself is we are so early into all of this.
No, I was say I think that's the cool thing is, being that it's new, you find inspiration and knowledge leaders in unexpected spots because it's so new. The CIO who's been doing this forever has just as much opportunity to know what you can and can't do with some of this stuff as the person who just graduated college and has been playing with an LLM for the last, 12 months in doing their dissertation or doing, whatever. And so I think that's the cool thing is we get inspiration from all kinds of people who've had great experiences with this because it's all they've been doing for the last 12 months.
Right. All right, Mark, let's go off the record.
All right, let's do it. I'm a little nervous here, but I think you got me. I think you're going to lead me down the right path.
I think you'll be okay. I really do. So, okay, question number one. What's a time that you totally misread data or just ignored data and had to learn a lesson from that? Maybe it came back and bit you in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, this does go back to the FHIR days. I mean, especially, I guess, VMS Sync, maybe even at that point. Tim Arnold is my co-founder at Toro and was the founder of FHIR, and he's always great at reminding me that if you ask people what they want, they will tell you a faster horse. And that's, the old quote about Henry Ford and the car, and it means to us that, we need to actually see firsthand. That's what we've learned is we need to see firsthand what that process looks like. What does that pain look like? Where does the challenge come from? Because in the VMS days, one of the things that we were told was needed was you needed, complete access to curtail the system in the same way that a developer could curtail it. And we built this, rules engine that so many people are very familiar with now.
Yeah.
Staffing. And the challenge with that is that, similar to automation, if you don't already have a plan and already know what you're going in there to do, you can create a whole bunch of noise and a whole bunch of distraction out of a perfectly well-intentioned piece of technology. And so that, as a data point, we look back on that a lot now in the Toro, as we've been doing Toro for the last year and a half now, and understanding that, we want to hear what the challenges are, but then the more we can actually get on site, see what that challenge looks like, have somebody walk us through that process so that we can ask the question of, well, why did this happen? Why do you do that? Firsthand knowledge is, my teacher from now on after some of those experiences.
So question number two kind of plays into that, and it'll be interesting to see. You can omit names to protect the innocent, or guilty here, I guess, one of the two. Have you ever had a client project that made you think we are never going to do that? No way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll omit the names, but it's a general category that I would give to it, which is sometimes you chase something that people are talking about that they want, but you can't control the other variable in the equation. And for us, that was, either VMS or ATS. We've had examples with both, but some of these systems are just so antiquated. And it was, can you put it together with bubblegum and duct tape so that you can give an experience to your customer that they want. And I think as I've grown too, you start to really learn setting those expectations of this is what the trade-off in doing that is, so that you can make sure that everybody is on the same page, that this might break every 3 weeks because the system has never had a robot touch it. It's only been a human that logs in and probably has a Rolodex of behind the scenes. That's, I think, the biggest project pain that we've ever had is we'll never do the chase something that shouldn't be chased again.
Nice. And I'm glad that you didn't say our name out loud there. So I hope it wasn't us.
No. Yeah, like I said, the ATSs, again, another reason that ATSs and the accessibility to your own data is so important, and people overlook that as a key feature. It's not just the marketplace, it's how much can you build and access your own data.
Perfect. Yeah. All right, next question. What's one piece of advice that you would give a prospect that wants to launch Toro Insights?
I mean, besides giving them a crash course in corporate tax accounting, which is something I could have certainly used going
Yeah.
into it, I would say that it is the lesson that we've learned about, getting the firsthand knowledge and being transparent about you wanting to learn something. That's something that I've always taught, all the teams that I've led and worked with over the years, is it's not a bad thing to ask genuine questions for your understanding of the situation, and to be transparent about the things that you know and things that you don't know, so that people can give advice on that to you. And I think that's so many people, and that's not necessarily just in this space, but so many people with the boom of AI went out and built something and then tried to find a problem to solve with it. And we're very much on there needs to be a problem, and we need to understand that problem, and then we need to curtail technology to make that problem, less cumbersome for the person that is having it.
It's almost like that, that some have forgotten the proof of concept stage, right? You're trying to solve for something, and then you have to prove that your thing can actually solve it. You've already made the product already, and now you're looking for something, and it doesn't work like that.
No, I mean, it's obviously, one of the features that we're about to release is the perfect cataclysm of that, because it's one of your recruiters was telling us this is how they're using something that we built, and it was unexpected to say that we didn't think that's a use case that the recruiters would go after. And we dug under the hood a little bit and said, what are you doing with that? Where is it going? Why are you doing it? It was like, this is the problem that nobody's addressing well, and now it is a MVP product or MVP feature that we're close to being able to show you guys at this point. So that's how I love partnerships, is you guys tell us this is something that we're doing, and we say, well, that's a silly workaround for that. We should figure that out together. That's my favorite part of this.
So it was one of my recruiters that came up with this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You go talk to Joel. We can't say what it is yet, because Tim will kill me that it's in. We're going to test it with you guys first. You guys will get the first crack at it, but it's pretty exciting.
Is the check in the mail? Like, is it right? I can't
I
wait.
mean,
I think it'll be awesome.
Royalties at this point, I guess I should start passing them out, right? Because all I do is take inspiration from you guys.
Perfect. All right. Last question off the record. What is something about you, Mark Hummel, personally, that I don't know, your clients don't know, your competitors don't know, but would never guess?
I mean, this one's tough for me, because I am overly transparent and overly share at all times. I might say that for as much as I talk about data and not being wasteful with data and finding something to do with the data, one of my bad hobbies is that I love to fly a drone and take a lot of video footage and then never look at that footage ever again. So completely purposeless data collection that I have zero intention of doing anything with, and I probably know it when the drone goes up in the air, and I still do it anyways.
All right. Okay. I mean, it's fun, right? I mean, it's probably something that disconnects you from your everyday life, right? That you just enjoy. Rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Oh, let's do it. Let's see if I can stay concise. I don't know.
All right. This should be easy. Pizza, wings, or burgers? You only get one.
Yeah, burgers.
Wow. Okay. All right. I mean,
are you not a burgers guy?
No, I am, but wings is the correct answer. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, I do know that about you. That is true.
Question number 2. What's the worst business advice you ever received?
I mean, it was that you need to stay guarded in what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. I think this industry, and really healthcare staffing specifically, has been what has shown me that the more you can share amongst your peers and lean on your peers for wisdom and advice, and people who have been there before, I think that's been the biggest learning piece for me. And I got that advice, in the fire days. So thank God we bumped into each other shortly after that, because I think that that the healthcare staffing industry in general and how you guys approach conferences and meetings with each other, that's disproven that advice for me every day that I've worked in this industry now.
You know what's weird is it wasn't always like that, though. It wasn't. When I started in Medical Solutions all those years ago, 20 years ago, right? It was very guarded and closed off, and we didn't have those conversations. And this company up the street was the enemy, and or whatever. I'm like, that's dumb. Like, we have so much to share and talk about that. And we could do it a better way. And so I give a lot of credit to guys like you or guys like Seitner that really that had led the way with that and, opened those things up. And no, it's okay to have those conversations and bring other companies in and talk about struggles and those types of things.
Yeah. We've been in rooms too where you just can tell that the person on the other side of the table is guarded, and whether that's because they're worried they have secret sauce they don't want to tell you, or they're thinking super long game and they're already thinking about the price of something and they don't want it to give you too much information. And it's just like, the more we can be a team and understand, this is what challenges you're dealing with and this is what's working for you and how do we replicate that more at scale, that's a much more fun conversation than us both doing this dance where we don't talk about anything specific.
Right. Exactly. All right. Question number 3. Your guilty pleasure is...
It is bourbon collecting. So yet another expensive hobby that I have actually, when we started Toro, told myself I will not buy any more bourbon until we, hit a certain customer threshold. I say that that's mine, but I committed that to my wife. But it is. I love just, certainly the taste, but also just the collecting, the art of the hunt. I like finding the diamond in the rough.
Same. I'm a collector at heart too. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I forgot about the wine bottle that I got you. I hope that you still have that somewhere.
I still have it. I do. I do. Yeah. It just made the move with me to the new house. So.
Oh yes, good. See, then I know it's top tier then.
It's still safe. Yeah. All right. Question number 4. The most used app on your phone right now is.
I know this is cheating because it's supposed to be one, but it's this 3-way tie of Spotify for podcasts, Instagram because I love to overshare, and so I share way too much in my life. And then as another distressor and like a little bit of nostalgia, Tetris. Tetris has been my thing here lately of just some puzzle games to take your mind off things, and it's this perfect blend of like nostalgia and then stress relief. So
I would never have guessed. All right.
I'm a puzzle guy at heart. Apparently, I'm learning things about myself these days.
There you go. All right. Last question. The staffing industry would be better if?
Staffing industry would be better if we had a staffing-specific Undercover Boss series. I feel like somebody needs to go make a podcast or mini-series of, we all talk about how we secret shop and leaders secret shop the experience that they're giving their candidates and their clients, which is great. But it's one thing to come in as a candidate and see what that experience is like, or as a client and see what that experience is like. It's another thing to, if you're, especially as an executive, to be able to go and see what is it like a day in the seat where you have just been given these roles and that you have 8 hours of productivity, and then tomorrow we have to stand up at whiteboard and talk about what did we get done. And that really gives perspective on, what are the things that the team actually could use and want.
That's a really good idea, actually. So dibs. I'll
say I'm great at saying somebody should do that, but not me. And so that is why I said it to you, because I know this is something that we should get going.
I'm already thinking like, how do we? Yeah, you could do that, right? And it would make our industry better. It totally would.
Yeah. There's so many different schools of thought to approaching staffing, especially with plenty of the old school ways of thinking of no matter what the metrics say, we grind harder. And it's like, that's an understandable sentiment, but at the desk level, what does that do to the people and how do we actually implement that? I think I'm hoping it'd be a comedy series and not a drama, but we'll find out.
We'll find out. It could be a little bit of both, actually. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on here with me for this time. I know we've done stuff like this before. Wrap it up for us here. Give me the pitch on Toro. Tell me all about it, where we can find it. everything that our LinkedIn friends would want to know about?
Oh, absolutely. So yes, Toro, you can find us at toroinsights.ai, and we are taking all of that unstructured data in your system and making staffing intelligence out of that. So everything from structuring the data so you can divide your cohorts better in your marketing outreach, to giving your recruiters the data they actually want to know when they come up to a candidate's profile, all the way to showing your leadership team, if they could read every note and every interaction that you had with a candidate, what are the things that they'd want to coach and improve on? Or what are the things that are doing great right now? And so between that spectrum, that's why structured data is so important to us, is it allows us to really ask questions of our data and understand what are the things that we should be prioritizing. And we're pumped that we get to be a part of that as you guys all go on that journey.
And sneak preview, it works. Like, we're using it right now. Like, we are using it and it works. So I wouldn't put my name behind it if I didn't believe in it, Mark. It's a great product, and I'm super excited to be a part of it from the very beginning with you and testing it and trying to make it better.
Yeah, every day we get new inspiration from you guys. So I'm thankful to you guys for being amazing partners, and our other, early staffing firms that joined us as well in this journey last year. And now we've gotten to that point where all the stuff we've learned is real product that's working in new people's environments. And I love the question of, how did you know that this was an issue? Because we really get so many nuggets of things that people just aren't thinking is a problem. And that's thanks to being able to sit next to your recruiters at chair side and figure it out together.
The best part for me too, honestly. I didn't even know this was an issue, and now it was causing problems, and now we can fix it.
Yep, exactly. Whole new world.
Right. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Rich. Have a good one.
Join us for our next episode where we talk to another industry insider about the staffing world.